Hey everybody, Arthur here with another unboxing video. Today we have Figma Max Factory Berserk, and this is Guts in his Berserk armor, and this is the repaint slash skull edition. And I am super stoked to have this figure. I want to give a huge shout out to Toyco for making this happen, as Figma's been doing reissues of these. And if you're familiar with how Figma and Berserk have been working, like this one you had to get like a manga with it. And it was like a crazy, like the cost just skyrocketed once people started wanting it. And I couldn't drop $200 something on a figure. So I just like, I'm going to wait. And then when I heard about the reissues, I just started to snag them up because great prices and the paint actually looks better. Hence repaint. But this is the box. The box just shows the figure and you really can't see much in here. You can see the Dragon Slayer right there. But it's a lot of plastic covering, protecting the figure. The top of the box actually shows Guts in his Berserk armor in full effect, which looks wicked. And then we got him with the skull helmet. Again, the armor, everything just looks so awesome. And the fact that he comes with this one, I'm like, man, how do I display him? And there he is with the half opened up jaw of the Berserk armor. And it, again, looks great. I love the images. They weren't just the same image on all sides. Here we have the back of the box, and it shows the figure in action, looking very, very badass. And we do get the different portraits down there, showing those off. And this figure's just wicked. Such a wicked figure. Out of the box, this Guts figure is stunning. It is very, very awesome. And so much detail in him. He comes with a buttload of accessories. One of the accessories, not really accessory, but with every Figma, we do get a instruction manual, and it shows you all the stuff broken down and how to attach everything, and it looks pretty complex when you get up to there. For any of you that's never bought a Figma before, they pack up their stuff very nicely. You got the stands in there with the hand on the hand trees. I really love the hand tree idea. It makes it easier to keep track of your hands. We're going to take a closer look at these hands on the trees. I'm not taking them off. You can see that the pegs peg right into the tree itself, and you get each pair, you know, in a row. So we're going to look at these and look at the paint apps. Like, you got his sword gripping hand, another gripping hand, and they almost all look like gripping hands of some sort. And the sculpt work and the detail is pretty awesome. I love the dry brushing on it. Just really makes the sculpt pop, and it gives it that nice armor feel to it. Here we got the second hand tree, and this is more of your expressive hand and tree. Like, everything on here is not really your gripping, but it's definitely an expressive hand gesture. It's pretty awesome. I love how you can see that the inside isn't armored. It's more of your cloth. You got the armor sort of over it. And I really like this one, how the hand is sprawled out. The sculpt work just looks great, especially with the dry brushing on it. And I've always found like medieval armor to be pretty wicked. So when you start seeing, you know, designed armor and that it's actually sculpted, how it would be pretty much designed, and that the hand movements and gestures are pretty accurate to how the armor would be on the hand. It's awesome. It's awesome. The attention to detail is really, really great. We also get some replacement neck pieces, in a sense, I guess, because this one has the jaw to the helmet. So this would be the one that's open where you can see his human face in the Berserk armor. And then you got the part that's sculpted, I guess, go with the cape. This one is for, I guess, anyone that you really want. I guess this would be for the full Berserk helmet in effect type of piece. Because if you look on him, he has the jaw piece sort of here, and then the cloth and everything. So it's sort of, each one goes with each head. Here's an example of what I mean. Each one goes with each head. That's the proper head. Of course, it doesn't have the human part underneath yet. So you're going to be using the same human piece that's equipped on him to use it on this one. But you get the idea. These two pieces go together. These two pieces go together. I'm going to take this one out so to dive in. This one has a lot of detail to it. I still have the plastic on the bottom. Jeez. You see the plastic. And Figma is known for putting a lot of plastic in their stuff. They don't want their paint to scratch and things like that. But you got the jaw movement on this, which is awesome. You get some more ways of posing the figures, and look at the glowing orangish red eyes on this bad boy. Love the sculpt work. I can't say it enough. This figure, just from looking at these armor sculpted pieces and the heads and everything, they nailed it. They did a heck of a job on this guy. Before we get into any of the other cool accessories, I got to get one out of the way. And I'm sure you guys are like thinking, man, is it a dryer sheet cape? Is it a flimsy fabric cape that we got like with Griffith? And they I don't know what they were thinking. They went like total opposite, and they gave us a giant hunk of hard plastic. I mean, the sculpt's there. They dry brushed it. I don't know if you can really see that, if it'll focus. There we go. It has like a little bit of a bronzish look to it, or brown. I don't know. It's hard plastic. There's no give on this. Straight up, just hard plastic. Looks like somebody like blew up something and you just found a piece of it laying on the ground. I don't know. I haven't really equipped it onto him yet, but as of right now, I'm not a fan. I love how it's all tore up and looks cool, but I would have preferred some soft goods with some like wiring in it to really be able to pose them how you want and get those dynamic poses, because this sort of restricts you just by looking how it's moving and stuff. I don't know. Yeah, I think this is just really dumb. Just a big shell of plastic. Then we got the Spirit of Shiruke, and they actually captured this quite well. It has like a nice milky, they cast it in this like clear plastic, but then they like painted it to where it became more solid when it came to the body and everything like that. Straight up, just it's like a Casper ghost almost. But no, they did a really good job. Like the arms don't move. There's a peg here because it pegs into his back, but a lot of detail, even the little hands and everything, quite detailed. The sculpting in the hair, even. I love how the little part like drizzles up and it gets like super translucent, and then it trickles down and gets into the milky solid spirit state, I guess. And they did a really good job for capturing the face too, the eyes and everything. Really cool accessory. Now I know for some collectors this next item deterred them from purchasing the figure, and hopefully they can change their mind and get it, because we get the Dragon Slayer sword. It is not painted how it was advertised, and this almost looks, I don't know, it's not blood. That's like straight up like black hard lines, and it looks like somebody took like a marker to it. It's not what they were supposed to be shipping out at all. You can really see it. And if you guys seen the promo shots of the figure and everything, it was supposed to definitely look a lot better. The sculpt of the sword, everything about the sword is great except for this paint job. But Good Smile Company has actually put out a notice if you purchase this figure, and it's opened up for a good amount of time. If you send them the information they need, they will replace this with the properly painted one. I haven't seen the properly painted sword in person yet, but I know that this one was way off, and I know a fellow collector, a good friend of mine, he wanted the figure, but this sword really made him not want to get it because of how crappy it looked. So, I mean, that's just, what was he fighting, like oil monsters or something? I don't know. Other than that, like the sword is awesome. It's got the little metal ring there to hook it up and everything. So if you got the figure and you're not happy with the sword, you can Google Good Smile Company Berserk sword, and you can find all the information there. So you can get a replacement. You just gotta follow all the steps, and I'm sure they'll mail one out, which is, I'm gonna do that, and I'll give you guys an update when I do get the new sword. This figure up close looks so awesome. I love that skull mask. Love the one eye just peering through. He's just full of rage and just angry and wants that vengeance, and it is awesome. You can see a little bit of red in between the pieces of armor, and I think that's a really cool add-on, and it actually looks a little bit wet. Now, if you guys aren't familiar, this armor has powers. He will, Guts can go into battle and just fight and fight and fight, and his bones can break and shatter, and the armor sends these pins through his flesh into his bones to keep him together. So as he's doing that, Guts doesn't really know. He can't really feel it because he's so full of rage and, you know, wanting to just destroy the enemy, that he's bleeding to death. So that's what that is. That's the blood of Guts seeping through the plates of the armor, which is great. So, you know, when he's all fighting in this armor, everybody's like, yeah, that's awesome, it's wicked, he's gonna be just destroying everything. Well, he's killing himself. He is killing himself the more he uses armor. And look at all the detail. I love it. And for you Mythic Legions collectors out here, like these Berserk figures are perfect for that setup. Back of the knees look a little gnarly. Got the little bulbous balls right there. But the armor is just been on point. This is like, is this flap? That's a hard flap. And that's one thing that's about this figure is some of the armor flaps where you'd want to move them, which we'll get into when during articulation, it doesn't really move the way you want it to. Before getting into articulation, I wanted to take that piece of armor off because I wanted to really show you guys the articulation. Now removing this piece was a big pain, and it was awful. You have to really be careful. Do not pull it by this piece. As you can see, there's a line there. This is a separate piece attached to the armor piece. You got to work it from the sides and the bottom, and these pegs were pretty deep in there, and it was not budging. It was something I had to work on for, I would say, a good, you know, maybe 5-10 minutes just to try to pop this thing off without breaking it or causing any damage. And it's a cool idea, but it wasn't cool trying to take the thing off. It sucked. When it comes to articulation, Figma knows what they're doing. It has actually some neck movement that's down into the actual body. That's what's really giving him that nice head movement there. He can look left and right at the upper part and to sort of show you that is how it's connected. So very nice way of getting some neck movement, articulation, a little bit of attitude out of him. His arms can go up this far. He can get some really good rotation. If you do the full 360, it's going to get this little piece that's floating there. You know, it gets it out of whack. He doesn't have a bicep swivel, which would have been nice, but with all this sculpted in armor and detail, probably couldn't pull it off as cleanly as they would probably like. But we do get the elbow bend, plenty of bend, and then you get the pivot at the elbow. Then we also have wrist rotation and bending, which looks great. I just love the sculpt of the armor. It looks so good. Dry brushing where they added the blood, they added it. It looks great. He is on a ball joint up here, so he can get some good, a little bit of side to side, but a lot of back and forth, which is what you will need for him to be wielding that massive sword. He does have swivel down at the waist as well, and that's also little ball joints. You get some movement out of there. Sorry for the squeaky plastic. And then his legs, it's weird. Like the legs themselves, the armor that's up on the legs. Let me get these elbows out of the way. So you got these armor pieces. This is softer, so you can get it up there a little bit. That's probably as high as you're going to get the armor without it hitting these parts. These parts are harder rubber. They don't have as much give, so he's not going to be doing any like Spartan kicking or anything like that. He's not going to be doing any Van Damme splits either. You can sort of hear it all rubbing together, but double jointed knees. Got that armor piece that sticks up right there. I guess it can slide in and out, I guess. That's pretty cool. So you can slide it out and adjust it and push it back in depending on how you want the actual armor to be laying with the knee bends. So you can get some really good shots. That's cool. That's really cool. So it's like a floating piece, but then it's not. Basically, no boot swivel. He does have ankle bend, toe bend, and there's pivot in the ankle. So yes, there could be more articulation, but let's be real here. It's a big suit of armor. You're not going to get your Spidey poses. You're not going to have him be a ninja. It is Guts wearing a bunch of armor that covers him from head to toe. So I don't want, I'm sure there's somebody like, oh man, why can't he do the splits? Or, why can't he, do a field goal kick? Or it's like, you know what? You put on this armor and you try to do it. So we go and change the parts. Let's take this up. Let's lay his body down there. And then we should be able to just remove the little skull piece. And that, again, is, there we go. You got that little separate skull piece as you remove it. And then you got Guts' face right there. Just, he looks angry and enraged. Like, it's great. And then you take his face, you pop it off of that. Like, you really dismantle this guy completely in order for him to, be equipped with his other stuff. So we take this piece, pop it out, take his face. So his eye lines up perfectly. Look at that. And basically, we're going to end up putting his armor all together. Let's go ahead and do that. So I got Guts all armed up and everything. Got that nasty cape on him. And the cape doesn't look horrible if you're going to pose him on the stand and don't expect much ab articulation. But the cape does look good. So it has the nice look of everything. But when I was trying to pose him up, because I was trying to get him in a low, he's running, sprinting to attack mode. But this is what happens when you lean him forward. You can really see that weight of that cape prevents him from holding his pose. And that really sucks. Either they needed to make a lighter cape or they needed to put a stronger joint or ball joint right there. But that's disappointing. That you're really limiting yourself when you start putting that cape on. So I will be looking for soft goods for this guy, but altogether, I mean, he still looks pretty wicked. It's just I need to find soft goods because this is just not going to work out for what I want to, pose him up and everything. You can definitely get him into some really nice lunging poses. You just come down and chop the Dragon Slayer sword down, and he can fall off his stand. But you can get some nice poses out of them. It's just the cape. It's this thing is horrible. As I was getting him ready to pose up another time, you can actually still see the brand on the back of his neck. That's actually a nice little bit of detail they added. They didn't have to add that, but I really, really dig it. So this figure, in my opinion, is definitely a figure you want to have in your collection. You definitely want to get some soft goods because that cape, even though it can look good, it does get in the way. And that's the biggest thing, is like it adds so much weight to the back. As you can see, he's on the stand and he still wants to lean back because of the cape. But I do have Shiruke on the top there, trying to keep him calm so he doesn't lose his mind due to the armor. And then we get the sword looking all right. I mean, it's not what we were promised. So now we got to compare Guts all armored up to his rival, the Nemesis, the biggest jerk of all villains. We got Griffith right here next to Guts, and they scale very, very well next to each other. Griffith was a lot smaller because Guts was quite massive. I mean, he's wielding that giant sword and everything, but this is awesome. Now, I can't wait to get the God Hand. I hope they really re-release those as well, because I would like to have Griffith in his, was it femto mode or whatever you want to call it, going up against Guts in his armor. And these figures are great. These figures are so good, and they look great. Like Figma, Good Smile, Max Factory, whatever you guys go by, keep it up because you guys killed it with this wave when they first came out, and the repaints are doing awesome. Sure, the sword, it's a slip up. You guys realized it. You're correcting it. That's awesome, and you're keeping it open. I think it's almost like 2 years, and that's that's great. That's an awesome thing a company would do, to be like, hey, we realize it looks like trash, let's fix it. That's awesome. So these figures are definitely going to be in my collection forever because I love Berserk, one of my all-time favorite mangas and anime series. I love it, love it, love it, love it, love it, love it. I can't say it enough. And if you haven't seen Berserk, you need to check it out. And I'm talking about go back to see the original 25 episodes that first came out. Then you can follow up with the Golden Age arc, and then you can follow up with the newer series. And, you know, or you can just go straight into the manga and ignore the anime if you don't want to watch anime. And when I watch anime, I prefer subtitles because I feel like the actual voice actors that do the anime in Japan, like, I don't know, they just really capture that emotion in their voice and stuff. I love it. So I go subtitles, Japanese language when I watch my anime. And that sums up my unboxing review of Figma's Guts in Berserk Armor repaints. And if you guys like what you saw, please hit that thumbs up. New to my channel, hit that subscribe button. And while you're at it, hit that bell notification so you know when I post up a new video, as I'm reviewing figures all the time and doing a variety of different types of figures as well. And I got to give a huge shout out to Toyco Toys and Collectibles. When I'm talking about the Facebook groups in the comments and description down below and the website, I really believe it 100%, and I stand by Toyco, because if it wasn't for Toyco, I would have missed out on these Figma re-releases because I had no idea about them. The pre-order group definitely helped me with that, so I was able to obtain the Guts I reviewed prior to this one, Griffith and Berserk Armor Guts through Toyco. So thank you, Andrew, if you're watching my videos. So appreciate that. And speaking of Toyco, guys, you got the website down below. Utilize it. Get some figures. Use that promo code that Toyco gave me to give to you guys for free shipping, so you can get your stuff delivered to you for free. And make sure you check out the 2 Facebook groups. You got the community, interact with the fellow nerds, talk figures, trade figures, have a good time. Then you got the real, serious group to join up, and that's my favorite. I mean, your wallet's gonna hate it, but it's the pre-order group. That's how you know when stuff is coming out. You'll get an alert. You can go through, it'll show pictures of the figure, when it's coming out, how much. And honestly, Toyco does take a dump on the competition. I've yet to see Big Bad Toy Store, Entertainment Earth, or Megalopolis be able to compete with what Toyco does. Especially for their, I'm meaning their pricing. Their pricing is insanely awesome. So definitely check out the pre-order group. And make sure you check out Plastic Cannibals. Search in Facebook. Go up there. Go Plastic Cannibals. You'll see a little image like you see at the end of my video. Click to join. Answer the 3 questions. That's my personal group. So if you're looking for a nice group of tight-knit family, like, collectors, like we're all looking out for one another, definitely join up, answer those questions. I want you guys to have the best luck hunting, keep on collecting, and have a beautiful day.